lost.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Vehicle report. Vehicle acknowledge.
Unit ready.
Waiting order. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Reporting. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Vehicle report. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Waiting order.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit
Acknowledge.
ready.
Waiting order. Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledge. Awaiting orders. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Yes, sir.
Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Reporting. Awaiting order. Acknowledge.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building.
Awaiting or acknowledge. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Unit
Ready and
lost.
waiting. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
On hold. Cancel.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge.
Construction complete.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient funds.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Ready and waiting.
Lost.
Waiting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes,
Acknowledged.
sir. Affirmative.
Comrade.
Acknowledged. Lost. Repair.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Building. Unit
Reporting.
prepared.
Acknowledge.
The
Acknowledge.
base is under attack.
Vehicle report.
Preparing.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Building. On hold. Cancel.
Very well.
Structure sold. Construction complete.
Yes, sir. At one. Very well.
Training. Primary building selected. Unit
Waiting
ready.
orders. Yes, sir. Ready and waiting. At one. Affirmative. Affirmative. At once. Yes, sir.
Training. Unit ready. Training.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. At once. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Agreed. At once. Agreed.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Agreed. Affirmative. Acknowledged. At once. Affirmative. Agreed. At once. Affirmative. Affirmative. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Construction complete. Building.
Reporting. Affirmative. Very well.
Construction complete. Building.
Reporting. At once, sir.
Structure
Very well.
sold.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Comrade. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Of course.
Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. At once. Affirmative. Affirmative. Ready. Affirmative. Affirmative. At once. Waiting order. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Reporting. Yes, sir. Yes,
Unit
sir.
ready. Primary building selected. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Affirmative.
Training. Unit ready. Training. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Agreed.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Training.
Affirmative. At once.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Reporting. Of course. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Waiting orders. Of course. At once. Affirmative. Affirmative. Ready and waiting.
Our
Yes,
base
sir.
is under attack.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Report green.
Training.
Acknowledged. Yes.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Waiting orders. Ready and waiting.
Preparing.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. At once.
Unit prepared.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Very well. Acknowledged. Agreed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Unit prepared.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Very well.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative. 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 At once. Very well.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative,
Yes, sir.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Agreed.
Repairing.
Yes, sir. Reporting. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders.
Unit prepared.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Comrade.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Very well. Agreed. Comrade. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Preparing. Building.
Waiting order. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledged. 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 Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Building.
Comrade.
Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building. Structure
Yes, sir.
sold.
Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Yes, acknowledged. Yes, sir. Comrade, affirmative.
Awaiting
Affirmative. Reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Affirmative.
sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building. Structure sold.
Reporting.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Comrade.
Construction complete.
Affirmative.
Building. Construction complete. Structure
Reporting.
sold.
Affirmative.
Preparing. Building.
Yes, sir.
Unit prepared.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Preparing.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Reporting.
Unit
Yes, sir.
prepared.
Acknowledged. Vehicle report. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Preparing. Unit
Yes, sir.
prepared.
Reporting. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Comrade. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Construction complete. Building. Structure
Waiting
sold.
order.
Construction complete. Building. Insufficient funds. Construction complete. Building. Preparing.
Yes, sir.
Construction complete. Unit prepared.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Building. Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Training.
Affirmative.
On hold. Training.
Acknowledged.
Training.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Engineering.
Yes, sir.
Engineering. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Primary building selected. Training. Unit ready. Training. Construction complete. Unit ready. Training. Base is
Yes,
under
sir.
attack.
Moving out.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Building. Training. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Construction complete. Cancel. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Nothing. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. 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 Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Unit lost. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Acknowledge. Yes. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Construction options.
Affirmative. Yes. Affirmative.
Construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Of course.
Construction
Acknowledge.
sold.
Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Building. Primary building selected. Construction complete. Unit ready. Building.
Reporting. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Building.
Acknowledge. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Cancel. Building. Structure sold. Construction complete. Building. Unit ready.
Reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledge.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Construction
Affirmative.
complete.
Acknowledge. 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 Awaiting orders. Acknowledge. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge.
Structure
Yes, sir.
sold.
Affirmative. 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 Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Waiting order. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Comrade. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Ready and waiting. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Reporting. Acknowledge.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Building. Primary building selected. Primary building selected.
Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Building.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Waiting order.
Unit ready.
Comrade. Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Unit
Affirmative.
lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Training.
Yes,
Unit
acknowledged.
ready.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Building. Naval unit lost. Training.
Waiting order. Acknowledged. Comrade. Waiting order.
Unit
Yes,
ready.
yes.
Prepared.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Waiting order.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Prepared.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Prepared.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledged. Report. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Comrade. Comrade. Affirmative. Comrade.
Affirmative.
Construction complete. Construction options. Building.
Waiting order.
Yes, sir.
Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders.
Waiting order. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Insufficient funds.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Comrade. Acknowledged. Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Waiting order. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Engineering. Affirmative.
Sir. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Comrade. Affirmative. Comrade. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Construction
Yes,
complete.
acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Prime Curtain charging.
Vehicle reporting.
Affirmative.
Engineering.
Affirmative.
Reporting.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Comrade. Acknowledged.
Awaiting orders.
Engineering. Affirmative.
Report acknowledged.
Mission accomplished.